Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. In just a moment, I'm going to be walking my happy butt over to the futon because I'm checking out the Netflix original, Let Go. So what's the plot of this movie? Well, it tells the story of a mother whose family is basically falling apart. They've become dysfunctional, they're not communicating properly, and everybody's kind of going in their own direction. And so she decides that it's time to try to bring this family back together. So she's going to take them on a big road trip across the country to her daughter's dance competition. So, a road trip drama where a family is trying to get things back together again. It sounds fairly interesting. Now, I know that you're sitting there going, hey, don't you normally go out and see movies in theaters? You've been seeing a lot of streaming movies lately. Well, I got a pretty decent excuse for this one, okay, guys? So, yesterday, we had a tire that flattened out. We blew a tire, and so we had to take the vehicle in to get the tire fixed, and they're not going to have it done till tomorrow. Now, I could drive around on the spare, but to be perfectly honest, I don't really want to drive around on the spare just to go do a movie review, especially when there's a perfectly good movie on Netflix I can check out. So this movie comes to us all the way from Sweden, and it is written, directed, and starring Josephine Bernabush. I'm hoping I got that correct. I'm sorry. Josephine Bernabush. And yeah, anyways, Sweden, I'm sorry, don't understand the language, so that's the only name that I came even remotely close to being able to pronounce in this film. So you know what, guys? Of course, like always, my good old cat Haku is waiting on me to get over to the futon because it's time for us to check out this nice little slice of life family drama, Let Go. Welcome back. Just getting done watching Let Go, and guys, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought this was a very well-made, well-acted drama. So let's get this started, shall we? Now, normally I do negatives and positives, but I really didn't dislike anything about this film. I thought it was a very well-made film. But I will say that for some people who aren't into a more hardcore slice-of-life drama, you're probably going to find yourself being a little bored in this movie. This is one of those slow burn films that don't have a lot of action or anything cool or horror movie or whatever involved in it. This is just one of those kind of films that really relies on its story and how its characters are developed and kind of go throughout the entire film. So if you're someone who likes to watch a very character and very acting driven type of drama, then you're going to probably find a lot here. But if you're somebody that needs a little bit more out of their movie than that, then this might be something that's going to bore the ever-living snot out of you. Because yes, in some parts of this film, you can arguably say that it moves along a little slowly, but if you're a person who likes a film that evolves like that, you're going to find a lot here. So let's just go into the positives, okay? The first thing I want to talk about is the characters in this film. Not just the acting, but the very well-developed characters in this film. When this movie first started up, when I first watched, I want to say even just the first 10 minutes of this movie, I did not think I was going to like any of these characters, not one of them, even the youngest little kid, and the only thing was wrong with him was he was just a little kid with some food allergies, but he just seemed a little whiny. But with everybody else, just with all of their issues and problems and everything that they have going on, they just seemed like kind of unlikable people. The mom comes off as a complete and absolute control freak who's always nagging every single member of the family. The dad has his own issues that he's going through. I'm not going to go into a lot of it because it is important to the story not to know. There's some plot points with his background. I don't want to talk about it too awful much. And then the teenage daughter, of course, just your normal kind of a depiction of that time and that age for a young girl where she is just constantly in a grumpy mood. Anything's going to set this kid off. Everything, of course, is the end of the world and so on and so forth. And her parents are the most just embarrassing and annoying people in her life. That's the kind of characters that this film starts starts off with. And believe me, you think that you are going to dislike every one of these people to the very end of this film, but the character development is so good in this movie that by the end of the movie, everything is forgiven. And not only that, but the film itself, its characters itself, have a way of telling each other, which you'll learn when you watch the film, that they have forgiven the other person that they feel has wronged them. And that they have their own little special way of a family of doing this, to tell the other person that I forgive you. And I thought that was a neat little toss into the film that made it feel a little bit more intimate, that really brought home the sense of these are people that do care about each other, they just lost their way. The film does a very good job of building these characters to the point where you're like, you know what, I understand these people. I see where they're coming from. They become not just likable, but you also begin to identify with each of these characters in their own way. Even people who start off at the beginning of the film with problems that are issues that seem completely irredeemable, they seem to be able to find themselves some kind of forgiveness in the end of this movie. Now, some might say, I guess I could have put this in the negatives, but I don't really find this to be a negative. Some people might say that this film could come off as emotionally manipulative, especially this little thing in the end that could possibly be a twist, but really it's more or less revealing the meaning of the film and what is going on. There's little hints of what this twist might be. At about the halfway point, they start giving you little hints of what's about to happen, but in my opinion, it doesn't ruin the film. But I could see where somebody would just be like, oh, that's just there to invoke certain emotions. And I've never quite understood that when someone says that it's being emotionally manipulative, because I've always felt like that's what a movie is supposed to do. It's supposed to, manipulate your emotions to make you feel a certain way. A horror movie is supposed to make you feel scared. A comedy is supposed to make you laugh, and a drama is supposed to pull the tears out of your eyes and make you feel something in your heart, warm the cockles, or make the eyes water. That's how a drama is made, and this film is done perfectly well in that manner. I also really enjoyed the use of cinematography in this film. There's a lot of moments where you can tell that the camera operator was doing some really cool stuff. There's one scene in particular that I absolutely loved where it kind of shows the parents allowing the children to kind of get away, and so you see this shot of them standing there with themselves, just the two parents by themselves, and the camera kind of pulls away from them, and you can see the expressions on their face of them understanding and knowing what's happening, that their daughter, their oldest, is growing up and is getting older and is soon going to be moving away and starting their own life and everything. And you can tell in that moment with the cinematography, and you can also feel the emotion from it. And I thought it was very cool. There are moments in this where they're using a handheld camera, and normally that would drive me up the wall because of the bounciness. But what it actually did was these really interesting moments when the characters are having conversations with each other and they're working out their differences and they're coming to terms with things about themselves and the way they've treated each other and so on and so forth. Then this camera in the handheld, it kind of feels floaty, but what it gives you a sense of, it's almost like you're the therapist in their couple session and you're sitting there with them, listening to them discuss their problems that they're having in their relationship. And maybe I'm just feeling that, maybe that's just something that I picked up on, who knows, but I really liked the way that it drew me into the film and made me almost feel like I was part of the movie by just using a really neat handheld cam. So all in all, guys, I would have to say that if you're a person that really enjoys a great slice of life family drama that's going to definitely pull at the old heartstrings and make you feel something on the inside, then this is probably the film for you. But if you're someone that can't take something that doesn't have a lot of explosions and special effects, CGI and stuff like that, which that's fine, I'm perfectly fine, I completely understand, this might not necessarily be the film for you. This is definitely a drama lover's drama. Well, alright guys, that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.